Good afternoon, and welcome to my channel, Blind_Prime, where I raise awareness for the blind and the visually impaired through alternative means and methods. This is including to, but not limited to, whatever I'm doing today, which is the Infernac Universe stuff. I'm going to talk about storyline today. I was watching Perspectiven's video on the Transformers Legacy United Shard this morning, and he mentioned something in his video that I found very interesting, and something that I was not aware of. But then again, I'm blind. I'm not going to be aware of something that's written or not written on a box. And what happens to not be written on the box of the Infernac Universe stuff is that they have no backstory. They've got nothing on that box to tell you them and who they are. Apparently, a lot of the weaponizers have done this. He mentioned that Six Shot and Slammer both didn't have bios, and I found that to be weird. But he did, But those are characters that we know, so we don't really need bios for those. But here we are with Magmatron and Shard and Nucleon. I hope it's Nucleon or Nucleus. I'm hoping I got that right. All right, but the Rock Lords, and it's my thought that the Rock Lords are really interesting. And watching Perspective N's video on it today, where he was talking about Shard, and I came to the realization, like he had, that there were no bios, and I was like, I did not know that. I did not know they didn't even come up with some sort of backstory for these individuals. So let's do that today. Why not? Why not do that? I have no new Transformers to show you. Sorry, budget. Trying to save up for Tidal Wave, and that means I can't bring you as much things as I would like to. But I will be bringing you Tidal Wave. That's for sure. Yeah, so be prepared for that. But that's why we're not doing many Transformers. Is we're saving up for Tidal Wave. Spent a lot of money on the HasLab this year for Transformers, and then we've got a few bigger Transformers coming down the pipeline later. And then there's GI Joes, and they've gotten kind of expensive. So I'm doing my best to manage the $930 I get a month, and make sure that you, my listeners and my viewers, have something that you can experience with me. And it is difficult building a channel on a budget, but I have been enjoying it. I love doing this stuff. I absolutely love sitting here in front of this camera and talking to you. It turns out I enjoy doing this a lot. And I hope that you enjoy listening to me a lot. And by the way, please go below and hit the like button, share, and subscribe. As Perspective In says, your likes! Please give. Yeah, if you haven't checked out Perspective In, go check him out. All right, that guy, me and him, I started my channel just a few months after he started his channel. I've been subscribed to him since nearly the beginning, and he's just a treat of a YouTuber. So go experience him, and let's get into the Infernac universe. So first off, what are the Infernacs? Okay, what is the Infernac universe? What does that even mean? Well, they didn't really give us much on that, but we do know that these are the Rock Lords, right? All right, so we're gonna call them Rock Lords for this video, because Infernac is just, it feels like I'm going to get tongue-tied saying that word too many times. I don't really like that word. It's not really a fun word, but it is a unique word, and we're going to talk about the word Infernac in a bit. But first, let's go ahead and categorize Magmatron, Magmious, Shard, and Nucleon as Rock Lords for the sake of this video. And now that we got them as Rock Lords, we don't know exactly how many Rock Lords there are. We just know that there's been 3 deluxe classes and 2 core classes, Rock Lords released, and so far, I'm not big on the Rock Lords, but I will be getting Shard whenever I can, because I think that's cool. But I won't be getting the repaint of Magmious. I think one Magmious is enough. But the Rock Lords, here's my belief, okay? Here's my story that I came up with, and follow along with me. The Rock Lords existed on Cybertron before the war. They weren't even called the Rock Lords back then. They were just a bunch of miners mining for Cybertron. Like Megatron. Good God, I wanted to say Megmamon. What in the world is Megmamon? Megatron wanted, he was in the IDW universe, he was a miner. And then, of course, in the G1 universe, and Lord knows what Megatron was before Megatron came to power. But we're going to go with the G1 universe for this. So we're not going to cover IDW. I don't know enough about that. I don't know enough about Prime. I know a lot about G1. So we're just going to put Infernac Universe in G1. And all those individuals out there who don't like that, I'm sorry. I know G1 pretty good, and I'm not going to try to slip those into Armada. That's just craziness right there. So, before the war started in G1 Transformers, the Rock Lords were individuals who were miners. They mined they mined the asteroid belt outside of Cybertron, and they had a good time with it. There was they had their flying members who could actually deliver the goods between the asteroids and the refining positions, and then you had the actual miners who transformed into heavy duty vehicles that could carry lots of minerals. They would go down into the mines, they would gather stuff up, they'd pile them into the back of one transformer, who drive up and drop it off, and then the flyers would come over and pick them up. Now, where did the Rock Lords come from? Well, I think that this was actually the term they used for their mining company, because let's just have it, they owned a mining company, and they called their mining company Rock Lords. And I think that's a great name for a mining company, don't you? The Rock Lords Mining. So Rock Lords Mining is out in the asteroid belt, and they're mining away. Well, they go in to check in, maybe refuel or get some more supplies for the refinery, and they catch up on the news and what's going on, and they hear about this thing happening between this group called the Decepticons and this group called the Autobots, and how things seem to be getting a little rough on Cybertron, and things may be popping off soon. So what do the Rock Lords do? Well, the Rock Lords have a nice ship that they, a nice freighter. They pack with all the stuff from the refinery and send it to Cybertron. So they pack up the refinery inside of the freighter. They pack themselves inside of the freighter, and they wave goodbye to Cybertron, because they have the means and the ability to leave the planet before things pop off. And that's what they do. They get out of there. They see that things are getting a little rough. They saw that the prices for minerals are highly fluctuating right now, and they believe war is on the horizon, and war is not going to be good for them. They're not going to make a profit from war, because they don't see how to make a profit from war. These aren't really warlike individuals. They're not war profiteers. They're not even thinking on the lines of, I could sell minerals to one side to fight the other side. No, they just leave. They don't want it to get too complicated. They have a good life. They mine, they refine, and then they sell the goods. It's a good life for the Rock Lord Mining Company. They head out of there. Where do they go? Well, their scouts have found a unique planet that is filled with heavy metals and other materials. It is a miner's dream planet, filled with all of it, and in copious amounts. Lots and lots of good stuff to do. So they pack into their freighter, and we'll call their freighter Rockalina. So they pack up into Rockalina, the freighter, and they head out towards a planet that they have decided to name Infernac, because of the infernos and the fact that it could possibly collapse and crumble apart. It is a very unstable planet, and they're down for the challenge. They have been challenging themselves by mining closer and closer to the sun, or mining closer and closer to black holes. They love the thrill of mining in dangerous places. That is what the Rock Lords are all about. And Rock Lord Mining is a 100% company of extreme miners. They like the danger. It's what keeps their energon flowing. So they get to Infernac, and of course, Infernac is a planet that is volatile. Volcanoes everywhere, flash freezes, glaciers. It's got it all. It's got a atmosphere that's made of minerals that are just not breathable for humans. It is a gaseous place. It is not a habitable planet by any means whatsoever. It is way too close to the star. It is tidally locked, So half of it's always frozen, half of it's always hot, and it's always battling itself. It's a planet on the verge of tearing itself apart. But the minerals in that planet, because that's like a 6th-generation star there, so the amount of heavy materials in that planet is just something that the Rock Lords can't say no to. This is the perfect amount of danger for them. This is the exact place they want to be, and they move to Infernac. And they live on Infernac for millennia upon millennia upon millennia. As the war continues going on in Cybertron, they continue living there. And they develop new ways. That the Cybertronian War, the Autobot and Decepticon War, is coming to their solar system a few times. The first time it came in, they were worried they would be spotted. So they developed a new way of hiding robots, a way that they put into the records that eventually in Beast Wars, the Maximals and Predacons in Beast Wars utilized this same type of method in order to stay hidden. Now, they did it to keep themselves protected from Energon and keep the Energon from messing with their robot modes. But the Infernac people invented this process in order to keep Cybertronians from scanning other Cybertronians. So when Cybertronians like Autobots or Decepticons scanned the planet Infernac, they did not sense any Cybertronians there. And that's because of the fact that they have figured out how to meld themselves with the minerals of the planet. And that makes them very difficult to scan by anybody. They have made themselves stealth transformers. And for very good reason. They don't want the war messing with their mining. They're having too much fun mining. They've been having a blast doing it, and it's been going on for millennia, like I said. But one day, and now we're getting to the modern times, at least in whatever canon Transformers is in right now, modern times. So we'll just say G1. The Infernac planet is started to come apart, and Shard and Magmious and Nucleus and the other Rock Lords from Rock Lords Mining have called out for assistance. They did not want to call out for assistance, but Rockalina the freighter was damaged. It's been ages since it was really properly used right, and so they need help. They need help repairing Rockalina the freighter. They need help evacuating from the planet. They need assistance. And they called out. And they hoped Velocitron would be the ones who come to save them, or another planet that was filled with Cybertronians who didn't want to really partake in the war. Instead, the Autobots and the Decepticons showed up at the same time, and some of these Rock Lords had to make decisions on which side they went with. And I don't know, which side, I don't know if Magmatron's an Autobot or Shard's a Decepticon. I'm not really sure about that. And I think it's right to not really be sure about that, because they're not really Autobots or Decepticons. They're just individuals caught in a crisis, and they went to the first rescue boat. So do they follow the same beliefs and practices as the Autobots and Decepticons? No, sir. No, they do not. But do they have to, pretend in order to stay alive and get rescued? Yeah, they had to pretend to get rescued. And it's sad that they got split up, because the Rock Lord Mining Company didn't want to be split up, but it's just what happens in war. It's one of the reasons they didn't want to go to war, and they tried their best to stay out of the war. So now they're split up. Now there's Autobots that are Rock Lords, and there's Decepticons that are Rock Lords. And at the end of the day, the Rock Lords are their own faction, just trying to survive. And hopefully keep surviving until they can meet up with the other Rock Lords and get away from this terrible war and get back to doing what they love doing most. So that's what they're doing right now. They're trying to collect all the Rock Lords from Rock Lords Mining that managed to survive, and possibly trying to get Rockalina back up and running so they can get out of this war and go find them a new planet similar to Infernac that they can play on and enjoy themselves and mine away for another few millennia. That is my backstory and bios for the Infernac Universe Rock Lords. Let me know in the comments what you think about it. I would love to hear from you. And a further note on the Rock Lords, I'll give you some separate bios for them right now. So Magmious, I believe Magmious is a hardcore mining robot similar to what Megatron was in the IDW comics, a individual who spent a lot of time in the deep mines, and that's what their vehicle showcases. They're a heavy lift vehicle, so the idea, I guess, would be they would be mining with a partner who would load them up, and if nucleos, I know that there's a Magmatron, not Magmatron, Magmious repaint, and the Magmious repaint is what I imagine his mining partner to be. So one of them is in vehicle mode while the other one's loading, and then that one drives up and offloads, and then comes back down and transforms into robot mode and loads up the other one, and then the other one drives off and offloads and comes back down and transforms into robot and overloads the other one. It's just the process that they do, and it's pretty simple. And honestly, like if you were born a mining type, I think that would be just the bee's knees for you. That would be what you would love to do. And so that's Magmius. He's a strong individual. He's the individual who's led the Rock Lords for the majority of the Rock Lords' time on Infernac. I think that they were once led by another robot who may have disappeared due to a rock slide, may have been encased in magma, may have been encased in a glacier, but disappeared. They disappeared at some point, and Magmius had to take over the reins of leadership for the Rock Lords, and that's Magmius. Now, Shard, I think Shard is an interesting one. And Perspective In talked about this, and I love the idea behind it. So I'm saying, let's just do it. Now, in G1 continuity, if we're doing G1 continuity for Infernac, then that means that this is taking place thousands upon thousands of years before Beast Wars. Perspective In mentioned that Shard looked a lot like Waspinator. And my thought process there is, what if Shard is actually Waspinator? What if Shard is was Waspinator back in the beginning, before Waspinator became Waspinator or a Predacon? What if Waspinator was originally a character named Shard, who was a Rock Lord, an individual working for Rock Lord Mining, and who did not want to partake in the war at all and stay away from it? It would work for them, and the fact that if they were separated from the rest of the Autobots and eventually just being a part of the Decepticons, and then the Predacons just slowly battered them down into a point where they became Waspinator. So I think that would be more on the tragic line of story. If Shard is a great warrior, Shard is an individual rescue helicopter. Shard comes in whenever there's a rock slide or a volcanic eruption that was unexpected or a 9.0 earthquake on this planet. Shard is one of the individuals, the flying class of the Rock Lords, who would come in and save. The flyers, they came in to bring the mined materials to the refineries, and they also came in to save the miners in case of extreme incidents, like extreme disasters, as in a volcano just erupts, because Infernac is not a stable planet, and you can't tell when a volcano is going to erupt. It just will erupt. And now you need your flyers to come in and pick up the miners and get them away from that before they get damaged. And some of the miners, like Magmius, have developed a lava-like armor around themselves to, one, hide from other cybertronians, and two, handle the extreme heats of actually literally walking through magma and plucking the right material, the right minerals and metals out of it. So while they're molten, he could just come in and separate them, and that Shard is a rescue vehicle that's made in case something were to go wrong, a piece of his armor were to break off while he's in the middle of a magma ocean, or like I said, he's in this magma pool and then it erupts. He's going to need to be saved. And that's what Shard's about. Shard is a robot designed to save. That's what I'm going with right there. Shard is a rescue vehicle for the Rock Lords. Has been turned into more of a weaponized vehicle by the Decepticons. But I don't know if Shard is a Decepticon or not, so sorry about that. Now, the other one, I don't really know much about Nucleon or Nucleus. I haven't heard anything about that toy, so I guess I'll come up with a bio on him when I know more about that character. But for now, those are the two bios that I have so far, and we're not even going to discuss Bouldercrash because I don't consider Bouldercrash to be part of the Infernac. I think that's a terrible transformer. Bouldercrash is stupid. So we'll say Bouldercrash is a drone that they use in order to go into dangerous zones. Yeah, Bouldercrash is a type of drone that they developed. It's not even a real thinking cybertronian. It's just a drone that they developed in order to go into areas that they believe may collapse or something like that, just to test stability. It's a stability tester to ensure cybertronian lives aren't lost due to unstable working environment. But what do y'all think about that? What do you think about the story of the Infernac universe, the Planet Infernac, the Rocklord mining company, Rockalina the freighter? Let me know in the comments below. And if you like it a lot, please share it so more people can get an idea of the Rocklords, because no one else is really coming up with a bio for these people. So let's come up with a bio for them. Yeah, sounds awesome. I love it. And I appreciate all of you so much for watching today's video, sitting through with it. Cream couldn't even stay awake for the entire thing. I just put him to sleep. Look at him. He's sleeping over here. I'm going to wake him up now. Come here, Cream. Wake yourself up. Wake yourself up. Yeah. You silly cat. You big orange blob. Well, later this week, before I let you go, I am working on the Lego Ideas project. I've been fixing up some things that people mentioned in the comments that I needed to fix up and tweak, and they have been I've been doing that for sure. I will be showing you the Troll Cave and the log cabin in a couple of days once I finish, going over them, making sure that they're worth showcasing and showing off. And I'll talk about them with you and discuss what I changed and why I changed it. And I think that would be a lot of fun. But I've been spending the last few days doing that, trying to figure out, like, do I build the bottom 4 pieces for the Lego Ideas project, or do I not? I've been fenced on that decision. I don't know which side to go on that decision. Help me out here. Is my Lego Ideas project big enough? Because that's my worry. Like, if I make it too much bigger, it will be harder for people to, it may make it more difficult for Lego to accept it, and it may make it more difficult for people to vote for it. So I don't want to put the piece count in the 3,000 level. I think, the piece count's already above 1,000, and I know it's above 1,000 just by the weight of the project. So I am worried about the piece count. I'm worried about how much it will cost people if it produces the Lego Ideas set, and I don't want it to cost an insane amount of money. I want it to be a set that many people can get a hold of. So let me know in the comments below what you think about that. Should I do the bottom pieces for that, or should I just leave it as is and just finish what I have right now and turn it in, because what I have right now is pretty freaking good. Thank you all so much for subscribing, liking, sharing, commenting, and doing all the things. I appreciate you all so much. You make me all so happy when you do these things. It is awesome, to have complete strangers, people that I've never met personally in my entire life, sharing my stuff and commenting on my things and participating on my channel. It always makes me happy. It's always a treat for me, and I appreciate every single solitary one of you for that. Be well, mates. Go out, have some fun, have a laugh for yourself. You gotta laugh. It's a healthy thing to do. So find a way to have some fun and to laugh today. Until next Prime, I've been Blind Prime, and this has been a sleeping orange cat, Cream. Bye-bye for now.